What's going on, everybody? Hope you're all staying healthy and having a great day. Do I have something interesting for you guys today? So, as you all know, these Veta frames right here are extremely hard to locate right now during all of this BS going on with everybody getting into mining. Right here we have a couple wire rack shelves that you can get at Home Depot locally. This one's $24.99 and that one is $49.99. This one's taller than that one. Obviously, it's got an extra shelf in the middle. Us over at the Misfit Mining community have created something that I think is great personally. So I'm going to show you guys all about this. We have made our own custom GPU hanger, along with our own custom motherboard mounts to clip onto your wire racks. This is to support the back half of the PSU, and this is to support the front of the PSU, and that is a couple of screw holes to be able to drive the screw through to hold the PSU in place. I will show exactly how all this works in just a second. So right now I'm going to put together these two racks off camera. I'm just gonna speed through it and I'll be right back in 1 second. Man, that is way too loud to be able to talk over this camera. Alright, so here we have them all built up. This is the 30-inch tall rack from Home Depot, and this one's the 48-inch tall rack. This rack and the next size up have the same spacing on the actual wires themselves. These ones are a little closer, the smaller version. To be honest, I like this rack the best just because it's super convenient height-wise. It's not, you know, it's not too big, it's not too small. This can fit plenty of GPUs on it. So this is going to be my go-to. This is going to be the smaller set of clips that we have created. Let me show you how these clips work. So basically, your GPU goes onto this, and then this mount will snap right on, just like that. So basically the GPU hangs off of this bracket right here the long way. In my opinion, it's nicer than the Veta frames because the Veta frames, the heat blows up. So these, if you're facing all the cards hanging down like this, the heat is going to blow backwards, which is excellent because that way you can direct the heat to one area. In my situation, how I have all of those rigs stacked, even though they're on a shelf with an air gap, the heat still rises from the bottom units and goes up through the racks. So as it goes up, it gets hotter and hotter on all the cards and all the motherboards that are on the bottom. The heat's just kind of going right up onto them. So in my opinion, this is going to be a better option than doing your normal Veta frame. But hey, other people could think differently. What I'm going to do now is take this small rig setup that I have right here, that server PSU, the RevTech motherboard, and these 4 cards. I'm going to hang them on this rack to show you guys how it all looks. And then in a later video, I am going to disassemble my RX 580 rig, and I am going to put that entire rack on a smaller wireframe as well. So let's get to it. Alright, I'm just going to show you guys how this is done real quick. Basically, have a soldering iron, the little curl nuts that we basically put on top, line it up, and I melt it in. So I do this by hand for every one of these brackets, and it basically comes out just like that, nice and flush. So we can then take a screw and screw it right in. And that's it. That's all there is to it. So basically this screw will hold down the GPU onto this bracket, and the other side has these slots where the GPU will go through and be held on that side. Alright, so I am going to be putting just these 3 cards onto this rack because my 3090 is actually going to be going in my actual computer tower. So I'm going to show you how these mount on and we'll go from there. So you take the bracket with 2 slots. The bottom of the GPU goes through the mount so the tabs stick out. You put the screw through the top, clamp it down, and you're good to go. I'll show you how we hang this, then we'll do the other two. Worst part is having to use an Allen wrench to tighten it. So you're gonna have to make sure you have an Allen wrench, but I will provide the screws and the curl nuts, obviously in the clip, so you guys don't have any issues. All right, that's it. Nice and tight. So basically, GPU, put it right in between the wires, stick it on. As you can see, that is hanging nicely, and it's not wobbling around. Actually, it's pretty nice. You can slide them back and forth. That way you can get, you know, a couple here and then whatever. So let's throw the other ones on and I'll be back in a second. All right, so we got the server PSU. So we're gonna put that basically right here on the shelf, just right next to the cards. We have a couple mounts. So these mounts right here are for the server PSU. Just gonna clip those right onto the rack. So basically these are just little standoffs, just kind of to support it so it's not on the metal. You're just snapping it on where it's gonna sit, and then you can push it to it just to kind of pinch it in place. Unfortunately, these don't have like a clip to hold them together, or a screw hole rather, but for what it is, it holds the PSU, or the server PSU rather, pretty nicely. If you want these clips to be super secure, you can get some double-sided 3M tape and stick it right underneath to this, but these clips are basically made just to keep this off of the metal rack, and the breakout boards themselves actually come with this nice piece of like plexiglass. I don't know if you guys could see that. That is just like an air gap, so none of the components touch any type of metal on your frame. Those are actually lower than the server PSU when you put it in a rig frame, so it's kind of like off level, which is weird. So we've designed these clips to be basically the same thickness as the plexiglass, so it kind of raises the front half of the PSU, and then the back half can just sit flat on the rack. So it's pretty nice. I'm gonna plug all this in to these cards, and let's get the RebTech motherboard up here as well. Just before we plug everything in, I actually sat the RebTech motherboard right here on the rack, same style as the server PSU, with these little angled clips. It's just kind of, you know, pinching it in place, keeping it off the metal. It actually looks pretty nice. So you have the server PSU, then I have the RebTech motherboard, and then the GPUs. I mean, this is a small rig as is. This is just kind of to show you guys what's going on. I do have another one of these rigs. I am going to build it up with all 12 cards from that RX 580 rig up on top, but this is just a quick rundown. I want to show you guys how this entire clip system works, and then we'll go from there. There's also, before I forget, like I've shown at the beginning, this is a clip for the PSU, the actual ATX PSU. So these will basically accommodate the screw holes that are on the front of the PSU. This L-shaped pattern is going to hold the actual power supply off of the metal grate. These two holes will line up with this screw right here, and also with this screw right here. That's why they're two different heights, just so we could print one clip and we didn't have to adjust it more than once. So you have two different options, but it's a right and a left, and then basically the back side is the same clip that you use for the RebTech motherboard or the server PSU. An actual motherboard has its own clips, which I will get to in a second, just to show you guys how it actually works. All right, so there we have it. Full rig setup on a wire rack. It's an entire system. Got clips for the you know, the RebTech motherboard or server PSU. It's basically just to kind of hold it from sliding around. We have mounts for the GPUs, like I've already shown, and there's also standoff clips for your motherboard. So we're going to include in the package these motherboard clips, a little brass standoff, and a screw that will hold it down. That's the gist of it. So it's literally secure. It's not on the metal at all. Yeah, that's it. Let's fire this thing up. So there you have it. A wire rack GPU setup. No more zip ties on the top of your GPUs. It actually makes it easier to work with because you can, you know, take it down without having to cut the actual GPU off, which is nice. So in the package that we're going to offer through Discord, it's going to have 6 GPU clips. It's going to depend on what size rack you have, so you must know which rack you got, either the small from Home Depot, the large, or, you know, an Amazon Basic or whatever. We just need to get a couple other measurements slammed down, but when you guys do the order, I'd like you to just kind of specify the measurement between the two so we know. But either way, it's going to come with 6 of those GPU clips. It's going to come with 6 motherboard standoffs. It's going to come with 4 server PSU mounts for the sides, the L bracket clips. We're going to have 4 clips for the PSU as well. 2 are going to be the same style as the L bracket for their server PSU, and 2 are going to be the ones with holes in them, so you can screw straight through to the front of the PSU to hold it in place so it doesn't you know, fall off the little standoffs we have. So basically it air gaps everything from the metal, so you're not touching anywhere, nothing's gonna ground out or short. Yeah, you guys should be good to go. I mean, obviously self-explanatory, these are custom 3D printed. They're not fragile, but they're not metal either, so you guys need to be careful. You don't want to tighten down the screws too much because the curl nut could potentially strip or, you know, twist out, whatever, but to be honest, a little bit of glue would fix that right up, so no big deal. You can always push it right back into place. I just wanted to take a second to thank our man Great Baldini over in our Discord group. He's actually the sole inventor of this clip, and I have been lucky enough for him to allow me to bring this to you guys in our Discord group. I just felt that this was a total waste if nobody else was able to use this invention. It is beyond useful, in my opinion, for a new miner that can't find a stupid expensive Veta frame or doesn't have the ability to build a nice frame and they want to do something somewhat fancy with a wire rack. It's super convenient and it looks great, to be honest. So yeah, I just had to say thank you to him, and it means a lot for him to allow me to do this for you guys. So as always, I appreciate all you guys for watching. Please don't forget to hit that like and subscribe. Also, we do have a free Discord group called Misfit Mining where these will be available to you guys. We'd love to have you. Please stay safe, and we'll see you guys next time.